Hello and welcome to the School Emergency Reporting System training webinar for local educational agencies. My name is Joe Anderson. I am with the California Department of Education Emergency Services team. The purpose of this webinar is to talk about the new reporting system called SERS, which was developed by the California Department of Education's Emergency Services team. So why do we need it? Another reporting system. There are three reasons I can think of off the top of my head, and one of those is to increase situational awareness within K through 12 education at all levels during the response phase of emergency management. Second one is to track school closures, which is a very common question in that response phase. And number three is to discover unmet needs for schools and coordinate resources to them as needed. This is a flow chart of what the process looks like for SERS. So an incident will occur, and then after that, an LEA can self-report the impacts to schools. Once that status is updated, the SERS will compile that information and make some of that information publicly available. If assistance is needed, the EST will work with the appropriate level of government to ensure that those needs are met. So if an LEA does not self-report, CDE does check to see which schools are in possible impacted zones, and we'll reach out to those schools through SERS, and you'll be able to report that way. This is what the LEA login screen looks like. There's a unique login code for each LEA, which will be provided to each of the LEAs. So this code that you receive can be shared or delegated to other staff within the LEA. And you can receive an email prompt from CDE if you have not gotten your access code yet. Or if you need to reach out, you can always click on the forget access code and then figure out through the system what your code is. The link for this is in the hyperlink in the bottom right. So this is what it looks like when CDE reaches out. You'll receive an email through your phone or through your computer that will have details on the incident, basically saying, hey, there's this type of incident, in this case, a wildfire. It'll say the name of the fire. It'll say the name of your LEA. And it will give you your access code as well, plus a link. So all you have to do is click on the link and it will take you into the system where you can report on the schools in that LEA. So this is what it looks like once you get into the system. If there is an action required, this box up here will have a little red section with a hyperlink that you can click that says school responses required for Rosemead fire. It will also show ongoing incidents. So if you have multiple ongoing incidents, which is rare, they'll all be shown here. The first thing I recommend doing while getting into the system is going to your settings and then updating your point of contacts. The default point of contact is the superintendent, and that will show here at the top where it says primary email contact override. So if you do not want the superintendent to be the primary contact for emergency communications and notifications, then go ahead and put whoever that emergency contact is in the override name and include their email in the override email. It's preferable to have a secondary person as well. So if there is another person who can back up the first person, please put their information in as well. Both of these people will receive notifications whenever an incident is occurring in your area. So the self-reporting screen, if you go back to your dashboard, you'll see there's a report new incident button. If you click that, it'll take you to an option where you can drop-down menu where you can select which disaster type you're reporting on. This is a list of the most common disasters in the past 40 years in California, but if your disaster is not on here, feel free to choose other emergency. So once you select that, there will be a list of schools that you can select from that are within your LEA. You can select either one or multiple schools if you hold the control key or the shift keys to select them. And then after you've selected them and highlighted them, choose affected schools. Then the incident overview that will take you here, it will show you all of the schools that you selected, and then you'll have the action to add responses for each of these schools. There are two ways to do this. If you have a lot of schools and you want to answer multiple questions at once, you can go to download school responses, which is a hyperlink under the incident action section of this page. And then you'll use the upload school responses to upload your answers after you answer them on the spreadsheet from the download school responses. This is what that spreadsheet looks like. It will have the CDS code and the name of every school. Plus it will have all the questions in the same order that was on the page for each of the schools. So you just have to fill these out, save it, and then re-upload it here in the upload view. In the upload view, there will be other useful information on how to do this. So if you forget the instructions, feel free to go to upload view. There are 4 steps to follow here on step 3. This is very useful as you're filling it out. It will tell you exactly what those questions are, because in the spreadsheet, it'll just tell you question 1, but this will tell you what question 1 is, and so on. So most of these are yes or no to make it simple. Question 7, the final question is always going to be a text answer, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So then you just say choose file here, upload that spreadsheet you filled out, and then hit the upload CSV responses file. And that will automatically answer all the questions for all your schools at that point. Now, if you want to do it more manual, you can, and you only had a few schools to report on, the method I prefer is just clicking on the school itself. This will come up and it'll show you each of those questions. You just select yes or no for each of them. And for the final option, you can put in whatever the school status is, any additional notes you have, any unmet needs, or if a school has multiple sites, you can say which site specifically is impacted. Now, all of these questions and all these answers will not be shared with the public. It's mostly just the first 2. Is your school closed due to the incident? Oh, I'm sorry. It's only the first one, and that you're currently affected, your school status as well. So is your school closed? What's your school status? So after you completed all your responses, it will look something like this. If the school is no longer affected, you'll see that there's an option to say no longer affected. And once you click that, it will turn that school green in this list. So red means it is affected, green means it is not, and yellow means it has not been reported on yet. So after everything's uploaded and everything's input into the system, as I said, there is a public-facing site which will show the status of schools. So this is what the top of that site looks like when you want to see what the status is of a particular school, or the schools in a county, or in a district, or even in direct funded charters. You have all these options here. You just have to select what you want to see, and then it will populate a list below. Although if you want to search by incident, you can click on that search by incident hyperlink, and we'll take you here, which is a very similar looking site. The default view is all currently affected schools. So you can see in California which schools are impacted by which disasters. But if you're interested in a specific disaster, just click on the drop-down menu and then select the disaster you're interested in, and it will show you all the schools that were impacted by that disaster. And this is what that looks like. And it will give you a summary view of what the disaster type is, how many schools have been affected, how many were involved total, and how many are currently involved. And it'll even say what the earliest report is here as well. So just to kind of see a view of what it looks like down below. So the top part is the summary screen that I showed in the previous slide. Down below is the list of schools. And you can see green means it's no longer affected. Red means it is affected. And then yellow has not yet been reported. So here you can see if schools are closed or not, and anybody can see this. The media can see it, parents and teachers can see it. Anybody who has access to the internet can see this information. So let's talk about what's in it for you. So first of all, it does expedite the resources to LEAs in need through the state and local coordination. So we understand that when a school is in response mode, they don't have a lot of time to do a lot of things, but this there are many resources out there to help you. So this will help us tie you to those resources. It also provides statewide situational awareness so other schools know what's happening, and they can help if needed, or they can learn from the experiences if they need to. And also it reduces media requests since information is now publicly available. And as I said, one of the major questions we received was which schools are closed, and this will answer that question for them. It will also allow parents and students to see the status of their school. So if you're interested in sharing this with them, then they can see kind of the status of their school, if it's closed or open, just from their own home. So what are the next steps? First thing I recommend, as I stated earlier, is to have LEAs choose who their POCs will be for the system, and then go into the SERS and update those POC names. So that way we make sure that the right people are being notified at the right time. Then CDE will eventually post the public facing page to our website. We're doing a soft start now, meaning we want to make sure people are logged on and using the system. And then as soon as that is happening, the public facing site will go up. LEAs will provide feedback on the system as necessary. It's not a requirement, but if you do see something that you want to see improved in the system, that's perfectly fine, because this is just phase 1 of SERS. So CDE will begin phase 2 of SERS, as phase 1 is functioning and operating. And basically what that's going to do is going to increase capabilities and functionality of SERS to help schools and also help with reporting as well. And that's everything. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly at Joe Anderson. Jake Wolf is also on the team and will be able to answer any questions. And we also have a general inbox if you just have some general questions and you don't really care who gets them. We'll answer it either way. So thank you for your time. Have a great day.